All right, Chad. Per a recent article by Jim the Indeed Whisperer Durbin for AIM Group, Indeed is planning to shift away from providing organic traffic, aka free traffic, to its recruitment marketing partners and prioritize paid postings. This decision comes amid global macroeconomic headwinds affecting hiring budgets and a recent layoff announced from Indeed, which we talked about last week. Chad, your thoughts on the recent commentary on Indeed shutting off the free spigot?
I mean, duh. I mean, how could you not see this coming? Indeed had an organic shutdown in 2019 for staffing companies. Then they saw profits rise from staffing companies after they made that move, right? So Mitch Gerson actually cites that some agencies had to raise their budgets 150% plus, right? So more than double what they were paying before. So staffing companies got fucked over, and then they said, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" Moreover, this happened out in the open. It's not like we didn't see this coming. We talked about it. Everybody was talking about it, but for some reason, it's like, oh, wait a minute, they're shutting off organic for another segment. So what did 2019 staffing shut off teach us? Well, apparently nothing, but here's what I got out of it. Staffing companies, they were obviously leaning too hard on Indeed. And staffing companies were not using the hundreds of thousands and or millions of candidates that they've already paid for. That, again, it just drives me crazy that these companies, and again, it's their business, right? So you would expect staffing companies to get it right. Companies are now starting to understand this in some cases, at least like the creme de la creme companies like Matt over at UPS. We talked to him about how the first thing they do is they look for internal mobility. Why? Because they want to keep their people happy. They want to retain their people. No shit. That's awesome. Then when they're looking to fill positions after they've gone through that phase, then they go into their candidate database, and then they re-invite individuals to apply for jobs that are like jobs that they've already been like a silver medalist or a bronze medalist to. And we asked, and he didn't give us specific numbers on the interview, but we'll be publishing it here in about a week or so. They've saved tons of money, not just money from the standpoint of not having to spend programmatically, externally, but also because they can fill positions faster. If you fill positions faster, your company saves money because you don't have a bunch of empty holes where people aren't doing the job, and you're not stretching your people so thin that you're possibly going to lose them too. So, from the standpoint of what Indeed's doing, every company that's out there today should be focusing on talent pipelining internally, from an internal mobility standpoint, and then also using the candidate data in their database. And instead of paying for Indeed, start to get into some of these SMS and chatbot engagement platforms that automatically match and then start to invite individuals back to your brand to apply. So there's no black hole.
Indeed being Indeed, I say. Look, I remember a conversation early in my SEO days when someone commented to me, and this is this SEO world, that eventually SEO will be dead because you'll pay for every ranking that you get. Now, until generative AI and OpenAI and ChatGPT, a lot of Google's results were, you guessed it, paid results, which you kind of hardly realized were paid results, and that probably is the road they would have continued down. I'm also reminded by the old conversation around Monster, where Monster envisioned a world where they were the only place where people went and they charged everyone, what was it, $1,000 a job, or like, and just scale that up considerably. I think that was Indeed's plan all along, was to never really have organic results. And I can remember circa 2010, the first sort of scare shot across the bow of job boards when they started ranking direct employer jobs higher than they did job board jobs. And job boards freaked out because the free traffic that they enjoyed was now gone. And Indeed slowly kept just tightening the screws on the free stuff, the people who were getting the free ride. And then Google came along and launched Jobs. And I think there was a period of like, oh, what the fuck are we going to do? Let's throw some shit at the wall, see what sticks. You know, you remember Job Tracker, where you had an app and you reported like help wanted ads in your local downtown market. And I mean, they got kind of crazy. And then you have Google say like, well, we're not going to do paid stuff. We're going to get out of that business. And now Indeed can like continue to tighten the screws on the people that are still willing or too stupid or lazy to pay it. I mean, look, this is a tax on people who aren't willing to look at some of the alternatives that you talked about, whether it's your own database, your own employee, talent pool, whether it's new tools and technology. It is kind of a dumb tax.
It's a dumb tax.
Yep, just post it on Indeed. That's what we're going to do. And now you have to pay for that. And we've obviously talked about the pricing questions and issues they've had there. There's a lot of confusion around what the hell am I paying. So this to me is par for the course. If you're not wise to alternatives to Indeed, well, you get what you deserve, which is a lot less budget to play around with recruitment marketing. Like I said, programmatic has become better and smarter. If you're not looking at that, you need to look at that. It's time, if you haven't, to stop the heroin drip of Indeed's free traffic, because it's drying up and it's going to be a higher cost for you in the future. LinkedIn's doing the same thing, by the way. They're tightening the screws on free stuff, raising prices, trying to become a monopoly where you have no other options. It's time to get smart. And if you're listening to this show, you're already pretty smart and probably not just dependent upon Indeed. But if you're a first-time listener and sucking on the teat of Indeed, well, it's time to get off.
Tell your dumb friends to listen to Chad and Cheese. No, seriously. I mean, this is the dumb tax. It's what it is. Because for individuals who aren't paying attention, or they're making excuses not to change, you saw this coming, or you knew this could happen. So this is literally just the Indeed dumb tax. And if you don't realize that you are buying the same candidates over and over and over, just fire yourself. I mean, just get it over with. Get it over with, okay? I mean, it's too bad. It's too much.